Wait, really? FNAF is 9 years old. Hello and welcome, I am Zombie Kitty, and Five Nights at Freddy's is 9 years old today. Oh my god. I remember being at university when the first game came out. I think I watched the trailer actually. I watched your Markiplier and Jacksepticeye play it, thinking, oh, that was a fun little one-off game, but no. The trailer for FNAF 2 was when I really got on board with like the lore, the theories, because I was like, okay, this is going to be something special. This is going to stay. Like, this is here to stay. And 9 years later, the film's about to come out in a couple months' time. We've got God knows how many games and books. VR game, second VR game is about to come out later this year. So yeah, the DLC was fantastic. What I wanted to do to celebrate the 9th anniversary of the franchise was I wanted to do a tier list of the games. So I've done this before with Security Breach characters. After I played the main game, I did a tier list of all of the Security Breach characters. This is going to be a bit different. I'm going to do a tier list of the actual games. So I do have one in front of me here. But the thing I just want to mention beforehand is stuff like Freddy in Space and all that lot. Freddy in Space 2, which were games to, I think, help promote like Security Breach and other things. I'm going to put them in F tier. Not because they're bad, but because I have not played them. So F tier is going to be like the non-applicable column, or row as it were. Because I have not played those, I don't really know what they're like. I've never really seen a playthrough of them, so I don't know what they look like. So they are going to go down in F tier, because that's going to be the I haven't played this row. The other thing as well is that Ruin DLC, because it's come out so recently, that is not on this list. But I'm going to say this now, I'm putting Ruin in S tier, which is the very top, because I think it's perfect. I think it's brilliant. It answered questions that I had. And I think still will really redeem to themselves with the DLC. So, yeah. Ruin is going in S tier. But let's get started with the actual rest of the games. So, these are the games that are on this list. Again, there are some things that I just haven't played. So, they will be going in F tier. Which is just, I haven't played this, so it's F tier. F row is non-applicable. So I'm going to do that first. The first one is the FNAF World demo teaser thing. It looks like a Halloween thing, so that is going to go in here. The next one is going to be the sister location. Again, I assume this is a demo. I know he did a couple, Scott Coffin did a couple of troll demos and stuff, but I don't know if the sister location one was that kind of thing. But that is also going in F tier. The Ultimate Custom Night, that definitely looks like a troll thing. that definitely looks like a troll teaser. I apologise if I'm wrong, but it looks like it to me. But that was for Ultimate Custom Night. Again, that's going in the non-applicable row. I don't know if I can change... Aha, I can. Okay, so I can change the title of the columns. I didn't know that I could do that. So yeah, so this is non-applicable. What's the next one? The Freddy in Space 2 thing, which was to promote Security Breach. Never played that, don't know what it looks like. Same with Freddy in Space, I assume this is 1. I don't know what this was promoting or like leading up to. I have no idea. Again, haven't played it, so I'm not entirely sure. We've got the first game. Now, I quite like the first game. It's a classic. Obviously, it started the whole franchise. I do think it does get a bit repetitive though. So, I am going... I think because it is, you know, iconic, it started the whole thing up, I do have to give it, you know, a bit of credit for that. But this is not the one that I go back to the most. It is quite repetitive after a while, especially by the time you get to like night 3 and stuff. So I'm gonna put this in B. because I also really like the atmosphere and the environment and the sound design of the game as well, but it's not the one that I go back to. I'm not just looking at this in terms of, I forgot to mention, I'm not just looking at this in terms of whether it works, whether it all fits together. I'm also going to be looking at this in terms of actually, do I play it often? Do I play it enough to warrant a certain marking? And I know everyone's opinions of this is going to be completely different. I'm aware of that. This is just going to be my opinion of where I think each game can go and where I think each game should be placed. So, FNAF 2. I really don't like FNAF 2. It works, and I think in terms of a sequel, it follows along with that. Oh, it's a sequel, so we should have more things and it be bigger and, you know, a lot more things going on. I personally don't like that myself. I think it's a bit too overwhelming. And that is one where I feel like maybe a bit more instruction should have been needed. But the location is really, really cool. I do like the idea of the added threat of you've got no doors, good luck. And the two vents either side of you is terrifying. But I've done this like twice maybe. First time to try it out, second time was for the YouTube video a couple of years ago, and that's been it. I've not had any want to go back to this one because I just didn't enjoy it. So I'm going to put this in C, because yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it that much, but I think there are some good merits to it. But yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it that much. It's too overwhelming for me, to be honest. So the next one is the Troll demo for FNAF 3. So I have seen a video of this because I think I watched Dorko do a video on this. So, I think it's really funny. It works. It's very simple. But again, it is also a troll game. It's not the actual FNAF game. But I do think it was quite funny. And it sort of continues on the whole thing of FNAF has a bit of trolling in it. And it does. So it kind of works in a weird way. The trolling is consistent. But I am going to place this in C, because it is a very simple game. Again, it's one I've played once and I've watched a video on it. But again, there isn't really much need to go back to it. But it does work. It's, again, very simple. You can kind of grasp it quite quickly. And again, also, it is a troll game. So, FNAF 3 is actually one of my favourites. I really like the idea of you're now in a horror attraction. And well, hang on, what is real and what is part of the attraction, what's actually real and coming to get you. It also introduced us to Springtrap, who is one of my favourite characters, and I just really like the atmosphere and the environment of it. But I do understand why some people don't like it. This is probably the one of the games that I played the most. But I do also get why people don't like it. It's not visually appealing. It's very sort of green and muggy and a bit rank. Basically, it's supposed to be because it's a horror attraction, but I do get on the eyes it's not very appealing. I think in terms of the controls, it works really well. And yeah, I mean, I personally don't have any problems with it. The instructions, for me personally, are quite clear compared to the other two. Or especially the second one. The first one has quite simple instructions, but the second one especially, if you compare it to that, like the instructions in 3 is a lot more clearer. And yeah, I just like the imagery and like the visual style of that game. This might be controversial, but I'm going to put it in A. So the next one is FNAF 4. Again, another one that I really enjoy. It's not really one that I've gone back to much though, to be honest. I think the mechanic of you have to stay quiet to actually listen to things is a really cool mechanic. And really, really interesting actually. in terms of a FNAF game. It doesn't really make for good YouTube videos because of that. Because obviously with YouTube videos you're wanting to comment over it and that kind of thing. You're wanting to be a bit loud, make a bit of noise to comment over what you're playing. But FNAF 4 you can't really do that to play it. So while I love the idea that you're in a different environment, you know, you're in a house, you're supposed to be safe. And yet, here we are in this, you know, nightmarish situation. And I personally really like the nightmare animatronics. I think they are really cool. I know that some people are like, oh, to make something scary, you just add more teeth. But again, they're nightmare animatronics. When you have nightmares, your brain sort of exaggerates stuff and images that you've seen or experienced throughout the day. So it makes sense that the nightmare animatronics were going to look a bit over the top in their design with all the teeth and the claws and everything. I think it's really, really cool. I really like the nightmare animatronic designs, and I really like the change of environment. Kind of makes it scarier because, again, like I've just mentioned, you're supposed to be in somewhere safe, and yeah, here we are. But I also do understand that in terms of actually playing it, you do need to be quiet for it. The amount of time, like the increase in the volume. Sorry, I was trying to think how to word that. The increase in volume and how much I had to increase the volume just to hear even a tiny whisper was a bit stupid, a bit ridiculous. I get why, because it's an interesting technique where you've got the volume up so much because you have to listen out for quiet sounds, but then that's when the jump scare gets you. But you don't need to turn the volume up that much. That, you know, you could have changed that a bit. So I was a bit like, I usually have my volume on level 12. I think I had to put mine up at level 70 or 80 or something, which is a bit much. You know, I've never had that for any reason. So I am going to put this in B. Because while I do like it, I have a couple of problems with it, like I've just mentioned, but I do really like the design of it. I like the environment of it. The mechanics of it are really, really cool, but also I have a bit of a problem with it. You don't need to turn the volume up that much. There's no need for that. So I am going to put this next one in non-applicable. I didn't realise, but the Halloween edition of FNAF 4, again, I haven't played. I have seen a video of it, but it's only been like a little bit, so I can't really judge it too much based on that. So this is going in non-applicable. The next one is, FNAF World. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this game. And I remember when it first got announced, like seeing the trailer and being like, what the hell is this? Like, why the sudden change? I get why. It's because Scott needed to, you know, making games about killers, like child killers for years, for like a year, was sort of dampening his mental health and affecting him. So he wanted to make like a happy, silly game, which I really enjoyed. Apparently there was some controversy with it, which I can't remember what that was, but I really, really enjoyed this. I live streamed this a while back and wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. The characters and the little like cute versions of them, they are adorable. They're really well designed as well, and I think the humour is kind of fits the rest of the humour that the games have. It's a very sort of self-awareness thing, especially when you like load the maps and stuff and you've got those little quotes underneath each character. Like, it's very sort of self-aware, which I quite like. Again, there's a but once you get to a certain point in the game, it's not very clear what you have to do. It's really not very clear. A lot of it I have to look up on what to do, which isn't very interesting. It's a bit boring when I'm constantly having to look up a guide, or, you know, how do I get to this particular area? There's not really any clear pathway to it. So while I do enjoy this game, there was a certain point where I'd hit a wall where I was like, okay, I actually don't know what else I can do now. But I do really like the visuals of it. The music I think is actually fantastic. The music in FNAF games don't really get much credit, and I think that is a shame because I think the music's really good. A lot of the sounds and the music of FNAF is just amazing, I think, in my opinion. But where are you going, FNAF world? I am going to put you... in C. Because while you're cute and cuddly, while the music is amazing, and while I enjoyed the game, the instructions aren't very clear. The instructions aren't very clear on how to play this, and after a while I did hit a wall and I was like, okay, well, I can't progress anymore, so I guess that's that. Oh boy, sister location. I used to live stream this one every year actually for Halloween, and while I enjoy watching videos of it, it's another one that I don't enjoy playing myself, especially because I have the console version of this. I actually have the PC version of this as well, and I really don't like the controls. I don't like the sensitivity of the controls. It made it very difficult for me personally to play. I think the Funtime animatronics are once again iconic. I really like especially the crawling through vents is terrifying. It's really, really scary. And the Funtime Freddy thing is really scary as well, if again that task is a bit too long. So where am I going to put you? And again, the music I think is really good and the sound design is really good. I'm debating whether to put you in C or D. No, I think D is a bit unfair actually. I'm going to put you in C. Just because I don't enjoy playing the game. I prefer watching videos of it. And again, there are just some tasks that feel a bit too long for what you're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, but I think the visuals and like the crawling through the vents and stuff, and when you're in that hatch, hiding away from the mini-arenas is terrifying. But again, the controls kind of, for me personally, again, do let it down a bit. So, sorry sister location, you're iconic, but you're not very enjoyable to play. Speaking of which, we're up to Pizzeria Simulator. Again, it's so weird because I enjoyed the actual simulator part of the game, so building your own pizzeria and that kind of thing, I do enjoy that. I enjoy the mini games that you unlock because they do give you more lore into what's going on and what happened in the past. But the bit where you're actually in the office and doing your work does get a bit boring in my opinion. I think the jump scares are really good, but the actual what the main part of the game is supposed to be is really boring in my opinion. But again, music's fantastic. Henry speaks at the end is again fucking iconic. Like absolutely iconic. It answered a lot of questions that the franchise raised. Where am I gonna put you? Because I think again the only parts of the game that I enjoyed playing was the main, like was the Pizzeria Simulator section. The after hours bit I actually also enjoyed. So it's just mainly the main office bit where you're at the computer sorting out like the printing out stuff and all that lot. That was the only part of the game that I didn't really enjoy, and that is kind of the main part of the game. But it controls really well. The music's again fantastic. The animatronics aren't really that memorable in my opinion, apart from Lefty. Lefty, Molten Freddy, basically the bad ones essentially, are like the memorable ones, but that's kind of it. I'm gonna put you in B. Because again, what I've realised is the only part of the game that I didn't enjoy playing was that office bit, like I've just said. So, but everything else I actually quite enjoyed playing. And again, the mini games I think are really good. They give you the lore that should have been there ages ago. The ending is just fantastic and ties things up really nicely. The music is fantastic. The animatronics, the main ones anyway, so like Molten Freddy, Lefty, Scrap Chap, Scrap Baby, I think are all fantastic. Well, Scrap Chap looks a bit weird, but the other three are, you know, again, I think really well designed, look really, really cool. So yeah, Ultimate Custom Night. I really like Ultimate Custom Night. I still play it quite a lot. I'm not doing 50-20 mode. We're not doing that. That's for, you know, we'll leave that for Dorco. But yeah, no, I really, really like Ultimate Custom Night. I feel like you should only play it if you've played the other games, but actually, in a sense, if you ignore what's actually going on story-wise, that William's in his own personal hell, if you ignore that, then actually I think anyone could kind of pick this one up. You do need like good reaction timing if you want to go a bit more difficult, but again, with the fact that you can choose, you know, with this particular one, I guess with any of the custom nights, but especially with this, the fact that you can pick the levels and the amount of animatronics you want, I think is really good. It does make it accessible. The controls are a bit much. That's the only thing I will say. The controls are a bit much. They're a bit overwhelming. And to be honest, I personally haven't got used to the amount that there is. You do need a good memory as well if you want to go for like the more difficult modes. And again, the music is just fantastic. Like, not much credit goes to the music of FNAF, but the music of FNAF is really good. Especially with Ultimate Custom Night as well. I mean, I don't know why I'm humming and hawing. I've already made my decision. You're going in A. I don't know why I was humming and hawing with that one, because the only issue I have is just the amount of controls that there are. But again, that's not really the game's fault. You need that amount, that many controls. It's just that I don't remember it. I don't remember what goes with what. Help Wanted! This is another game that I have not played on the channel yet. I need to sort out my VR and how to record stuff actually. I'm gonna exclude Curse of Dreadbear on this one because the only video that I've seen of this is when you actually get the Vanny mask, but that's it, and I haven't played Curse of Dreadbear myself, so I'm not going to include Curse of Dreadbear, but I will include Help Wanted, which I have played a bit of. Well, I've played on the Switch, so I haven't played the VR version, which I know will be a completely different experience, but I've played the Switch version. I, again, really like this game. It gave us my ultimate favourite character in FNAF, which is Glitchtrap. The endings, I think, are really, really cool. I'm a bit of a sucker for, like, anything where it's, like, fiction blurs into reality. Like, those lines are sort of crossed and they disappear. And this is one of those games. I think in terms of space and, like, depth, again, I can only talk about the Nintendo Switch version. But I have heard that in VR it's really well done, and even in the Switch version, it's really well done. This is fantastically made, but it is also a rehash of the other games. But at the same time, I'm kind of not going to include that as a negative, because what they do with this is they split up the different mini games and the different things you have to do per game, and they made those mini games into like fully fledged levels, as it were, which I really, really appreciate, because it added more to that game of what you had to do, as well as they added new things like the parts and service where you were up close to the animatronics and fixing them, which even on the Switch is terrifying. Which even on the Switch is so scary. So I'm nervous to try that out on VR, but I'm excited at the same time. So again, I can only talk about the Nintendo Switch version, so please bear that in mind, but I've already made my mind up. Again, you are going in A. We haven't had an S tier one. I think that's the thing, like, because of the way that I play each game, like, a lot of them I either have on PlayStation or Nintendo Switch, and there's a couple that I have on PC as well. But it's usually the controls or the lack of instructions that kind of let it down, to be honest. The only one so far that's on S tier is Ruin. So, FNAF AR, which... has that been removed from the App Store? I don't really know. I don't know what's going on with that one. I played it for a bit when I was playing Pokemon Go at the same time. So this is the game that's on mobile. In a similar vein to how Pokemon Go works, you wave your phone around and the animatronics will appear in front of you as if they're in the room that you're playing in, which I think is really, really cool. I did like FNAF AR, and I know a lot of people hated it. Again, I really liked it, but at the same time, the developers didn't really do anything with the game. And when they did, unfortunately, it was a bit too late. And I think after a while, it does get a bit repetitive with what you can do. And it's very clear after a while that, the developers haven't really added anything new to the game in a long time. Which is a shame, because I feel like it could, if you kept the ball rolling, I feel like it could be something that people play more. But again, it released and then sort of went out with a whimper pretty quickly. It also took me a long time to actually get the game, because at first it was only going to be available for like iPhone 11 and like the higher Android phones. And at the time I didn't have any of that, so it took me a long time to get this game. And by the time I did, it was losing players. So that was also another issue with the game, I feel. Yeah, I liked the idea of it, but the developers should have worked on it more. They should have added more to it, kept going with it. I think it's still around, I'm not really sure, to be honest. There were rumours that they were adding more stuff to it, but then those rumours disappeared and fizzled out, so I don't really know what's going on with it now. Which is a shame, because I think also the AR implementation worked really well. Did work really well. But it's it got dead in the water pretty quickly. Sorry, FNAF AR, I do like you, but you had too many problems and there was nothing. You were kind of dead on arrival, really, which is a shame, because sure you're going indeed. Which is a shame to say, because I did like it, but again, I lost interest pretty quickly when I realised they weren't going to add anything, and they were kind of just going to abandon the game, which is a shame. Oh boy! Security breach. Well then, so I will say I'm replaying it at the moment, but I haven't played it since that update went up, when I downloaded Ruin. So I mentioned this before I downloaded Ruin, Security Breach got another general update. I don't know what it was for, but I haven't played Security Breach since then. I haven't had the time, it was the reason why. So I can only look at it as for what its current state was when I last played it. Oh no, okay, so the positives. I really like the characters in it. I mean, obviously there's up for debate now for Gregory, but at the time of playing it, I really liked Gregory. I thought he was a really interesting character and is a really strong character. I liked Vanny as well, even though she hardly appeared in it, and it doesn't matter now. But I can only look at it in terms of the last time I played it before Ruin came out. So this is what I'm looking at. The Pizzaplex and the Mega Pizzaplex looks fantastic, and actually once you were able to freely sort of run around in it, you did have to use Freddy. I ended up using Freddy quite a lot just because it was easier, but I actually enjoyed doing that. It also meant that security bots weren't going to get you, but I actually enjoyed doing that. Again, the music is really, really good in it. It's actually a soundtrack that I listen to a lot next to Pizzeria Simulator, and yeah, the characters are really good in it. I like that there were multiple endings. I feel like we all know what the butt is going to be. I feel like we all know what the butt is going to be. My game, when it first launched, was unplayable to the point that I had to leave it. I had to leave the series for about a month or two, and wait until it was updated. And even then, it doesn't really work. It works a lot better now, but that's, you know, I've just got to Fazcade, and that's still just as broken as when I played it on YouTube, which is a real shame. Because again, that looks fantastic. DJ Music Man is awesome. The music that goes along with that whole section is awesome, but it doesn't work. It freezes a lot still, which is a shame. And that whole map is just really confusing to get through. Most of my time is made up of just trying to get to that office to start the task. And usually what happens is Chica ends up getting me. So it still doesn't really work. Obviously, after playing it, you only had more questions. So it's not really a secret anymore that there's a lot of cut content from the main game, which I don't know, but I think that was what was put into the DLC. But where do I put you? Because I really, really like the location. I really like the characters. I love also that it's the first completely free roam FNAF game. And I would want more of that, actually. I would want more completely free roam Five Nights at Freddy's games. I really would. I think it does actually work for the type of game that it is, but it still just has too many bugs and glitches. I'm going to put you... Where have you gone? You're there. I'm going to put you in C. I don't think it's bad enough to put you in D, because again, especially at this point, at the moment, aside from Fazcade, it's not, and again, I'm judging this from the last time I played it, which is quite recent, but apart from Fazcade, it's not progress hindering glitches and bugs anymore. It's just really stupid stuff now, like occasional loading freezes and stuff, but it's not really... You know, Gregory suddenly freezes again, and so an animatronic can get me. Like, it's not that kind of thing anymore, which I think is good. Fazcade is a little different, it does that sometimes, but mostly the problems with that map is the actual map itself. And yes, Ruin is going to go in S tier, so I'll put an image of that here now. It's just a placeholder so you know what that's going to completely look like. But yeah, this was my tier list for all of the FNAF games. Again, I apologise, I haven't played any of these ones in the non-applicable row, but I haven't done too badly. There's no E games, which I think is good. Sorry FNAF AR that you're going in D. You're lonely down there, I'm sorry. And there's only one S tier game. But again, this is my opinion. You know, everyone's going to be different. I'm interested to know actually where would you rank all of the games? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Where would you rank all the games in the franchise? But yeah, I thought this would be a fun thing to do just for the 9th anniversary. Again, this is my own opinion. You know, this isn't fact. Please bear that in mind. But yeah, I thought it would be fun to do like a tier list of all the games for the 9th anniversary. So this is my overall ranking. I will leave this template in the description below, so if you want to do your own ranking, you can. But yeah, I'm interested to know what people's ranking of each game is as well. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!